Hello, Mr. Tenkey here, number 704. Dear management, checklists are helpful and hindering all at the same time. So let's look at a few examples of why this dichotomy. And of course, whiteboard time. Helpful and hindering. Helpful. Newbies. They can be a powerful learning tool, providing guidance, a map to a process or procedure. Okay. 2, consistency. They promote consistency of selected tasks. They can. Status. They can communicate the status of a process in motion. Completeness. And then the checklist, because you can look at the checklist signed off, they denote completeness of steps along the way. Okay? But they also can be hindering because they can become too long, cumbersome and or impractical, contributing to that fatal checklist fatigue. They can also create dependence, which can stifle professional judgment or objectivity in decision making. People are like, well, this checklist said to do this, even though the situation might call for something different. Roadblocks, kind of the same thing. They can create unintentional roadblocks, penalizing efficiency, decreasing participant satisfaction. But I think one of the worst, and that's kind of why I've made this one a little bigger, I think one of the greatest dangers I foresee is when people just complete them by rote memory. Oh yeah, I think I did that kind of stuff, and they're remembering a file that they'd already touched. They can create the false, even though it's complete over here and they checked off on it, it can create a false veneer of completeness for those of us relying on that task being done. And then it comes back and bites us when the loan gets sold or etc. when you're going back for regulatory purposes. Okay, so really all this comes down to people losing sight of, on the hindering side, people losing sight of why checklists were created in the first place. So what I would say is lean into the helpful side and just adjust for the hindrances. And here's a couple kind of thoughts that I would throw out there, okay? Use checklists mainly as learning tools and adjust your mindset to recognize that as a tool, it may outlive its usefulness at some point. And then at that point, create a new tool or process, procedure, etc., okay? And allow people to adjust and tailor checklists as their skill sets increase. I mean, if the job gets done with all the necessary criteria met, does it really matter how it got done? Obviously, we're looking for a more efficient way to do things, and that might change the checklist. But if it doesn't, well then, just shove that checklist back in their face and then do it this way. But essentially, the moral I'm trying to convey is checklists are a valuable tool until they are not. Know when they are not and change your course accordingly, okay? And those are my couple pennies. Have a good day, peeps.